Hey there. Welcome to another long-awaited, at least by like two of y'all, episode of 10 Things I Hate About Your Writing. Shit that is keeping you from getting published and keeping you from selling books. I'm John Hartness. I am a fantasy author. I am a fantasy publisher. I'm an editor, and I sell enough books to make a living, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I'm not claiming to be Stephen King. The way I'm built, I'm more like 2.5 Stephen Kings, but I'm living the dream. I make enough to support my family. A series of videos is intended to help you avoid a lot of the mistakes that I see unpublished and newly published writers making with their work that keeps them from either getting published in the first place or selling books once they do. And we're back. That was a technical check because I do a podcast every couple of weeks called Authors and Dragons. You should check it out. It's a lot of fun. Not safe for work. Not really safe for anything. But I record that with a mic that hangs over my desk. And I recorded one of these videos with the mic still plugged in and thus lost 15 minutes of audio and then got pissed off and didn't record anything. That's not why it's been 6 months since I released one of these, but it's a contributing factor. Today, we're going to talk about one of the things that keeps people from getting published in the first place. Eventually, we'll come up with some of the things that are keeping people from selling books once they have either self-published it or been accepted by a publisher. But this is one thing that keeps a lot of writers, especially in the fantasy genre, from ever getting published. Your book is too long. Let's back that up and break it down. Your book is too long. I know, you're sitting here thinking, but I read every Brandon Sanderson book that comes out, and his books are big and heavy, and they could kill a chihuahua if you drop it on its head. And oh my God, Pat Rothfuss is such a wordy bastard. And oh my God, George R.R. Martin writes 1,000,000 words. Blah, 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 blah. You're not any of those people. When you have sold 1,000,000 books, write whatever the hell you want and somebody will publish it. But today, you, unpublished writer, are not Brandon Sanderson. You're not George R.R. Martin, and you're not Pat Rothfuss. I know, I've met them all, they ain't you. Unless, of course, any of the three of you are watching, in which case, hi. Seriously, read the submission guidelines and make your shit. It's like a cat. If I fits, I sits. If the submission guidelines are for 120,000 word maximum story, your 175,000 word first volume of your 10-book cycle of epic fantasy mental masturbation don't fits. Cut your shit down. Yeah, this is a thing. You not being an international best-selling superstar writer with bajillions of books sold and TV deals and guest spots at PAX to play Dungeons and Dragons in front of 1,000 people and epic beards or ex-roommates who are Jeopardy champions. You're not all of those things, so you have to live in the world with the rest of us. Why does it matter what length your book is? Yes, I know, the story needs to be told. Yes, the story needs to be the length that it needs to be. Use all of the words that you need to tell the story that's in your heart and soul, and then self-publish the motherfucker, because nobody else is going to. In the publishing world, we live by multiple things. There are multiple factors that go into building a book. One of them is word count. Books cost money to print. This is Aluminum Leaves. It's by Marion Deeds. She's a first-time published author. This is a novella. This is between 30 and 40,000 words. This is a 5x8 format, nice little pocket-sized book that we can sell as a small press for less than $10. So what does that get Marion? It gets her an opportunity for people with $10 in their pocket to say, hey, I'll take a flyer on a writer I've never heard of, because what the hell, it's $10. This is American Starlet by Lucy Blue. Lucy is not a first-time published author. She's got 10 or 12 books under her belt and a long history of writing successful romance. Lucy got a big book, because Lucy gonna sell some books. Marion got a little bitty book, because Marion has no track record of selling books. Now, Aluminum Leaves is a beautiful book, and I think every one of you should go to falstaffbooks.com and buy it. Same with The Labyrinth's Archivist by Day Al-Muhammad. This is a beautiful book. This is her first full-length published work, and it is also a novella. Publishing shorter works gives particularly small presses an opportunity to help new writers be discovered. But you, as the new writer, have to help us help you get discovered. That means don't send me something that's going to print this friggin' thick when you have no history of selling books, because I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to pay to have it edited. I'm not going to pay to have it copy edited. I'm not going to pay to have it proofread, and I'm sure as hell not going to pay to print it. And then I'm not going to pay to ship it, and I'm not going to carry the son of a bitch. Look behind me. All those books on the shelf, that's about 2/3 of the inventory I keep on hand, because I go to a lot of shows. You know why that's 2/3 of the inventory? Because 1/3 of it is still in my truck from last weekend when I went to do a show, and I lugged 6 bins full of books and booth setup stuff to Hickory, North Carolina, an hour away, to sell $200 worth of paperbacks. It was fine. It was a good little show. But my point is that publishers have costs, and those costs are associated with length. Lucy's book, American Starlet, that I just showed you, that is a $20 paperback. Now, I can sell a $20 paperback from Lucy, or myself, or Nancy Northcott. You see that really pretty book on the top shelf back there? That's Herald of the Day. It's Nancy's book. It's a thick book, so it's $20. It costs money to print and ship. That means that they have a track record of selling books. If nobody's ever heard of you and you don't have any kind of social media platform, we need to give you every advantage that we can when it's time to sell your book. That means that you need to be inexpensive enough for someone to go into a bookstore and say, $16. Well, with tax, it's less than a 20. It's a one-bill purchase. That matters, believe it or not. Especially at conventions where a lot of people are paying in cash. If you can pay with the fewest number of bills that most people are going to carry, you'll get more sales. It's why $22 is a worse sale point than $19. Not just because $3, but because $22 is 2 or 3 bills. It's more work to pay for. It's a very small psychological thing, but it matters, and we pay attention to this. So when you're looking at submitting a book, let's say you want to submit to Falstaff. Please don't, we're currently closed for unsolicited submissions. If you see me at a convention and you make a pitch and I say send it to me, send it right along. But don't go to our website and start sending random blind submissions, because it's going to get deleted unread. We're booked until 2021. Sorry. That's like the shit that people say really fast at the end of drug commercials. My editors make me say that or they'll kill me. Read the guidelines. Publishers put out guidelines for a reason. You may not understand the reason. You don't have to. But you do have to follow them. So look at the length. Look at what you're trying to do. Maybe your 450,000 word first novel can be 3 books. Maybe it's 350,000 word first novels. And then when an editor gets to working with you, they can cut 20,000 or 30,000 words out of each book because you're a first-time writer and you're too goddamn wordy. Oh, and by the way, if you're a first-time writer, you're probably too goddamn wordy. Or you're not wordy enough, and maybe it needs to be 412,000 word books. My point is, don't get bent out of shape if somebody says this needs to be 2 or 3 books. It's too long. It's not because they think you're too wordy. You probably still are. But it's because they don't want to carry around a book that's this big, that's going to cost $35 in paperback, and nobody's ever going to buy. Yes, we do live and die by ebook and audio in the small press and self-published world. And yes, especially in audio, long books are fantastic. But you know what else is fantastic? Taking little bitty books and bundling them together into a long audiobook. Serves the same purpose. And then you've been able to sell the itty bitty books while you've been writing the rest of them to bundle them into the great big book, so you've had product on the shelf for sale. So yes, we do live and die by ebooks, and no, ebooks do not take up shelf space. So theoretically, it doesn't matter how long your book is, right? Wrong. Do you know how editors charge, freelance editors? They charge by the word. Every word has an associated cost with it. And publishers build their budgets based on what their editorial costs are going to be for the year. So if your book takes up the editorial money of 2 other books, well, somebody's book ain't getting bought. And that publisher may not make as much money off 1 book as they would off 2. So pay attention to what people are saying and cut down your shit. I promise it'll get you published faster. It's not Solomon cutting your baby in half. Because really, don't let people cut babies in half. That never washes out of the carpet. But your book isn't just this ethereal, formative thing. It's not some grand part of your soul. It's a fucking product. It is a thing to be bought and sold like a phone, like a shaker of salt. I eat that many meals at my desk. I do keep a salt and pepper shaker at my desk. Like a mounting plate for a camera on a tripod. Your book in the commercial fiction world is created to be sold. Your publisher's guidelines on length are intended to help us sell more of your book so that we all get paid. Help us help you. And cut your wordy shit down to 3 or 4 books. Or just do like Elmore Leonard says. Figure out the pieces that people ain't going to read. Don't write them. All right. That was a little bit of tough love. I know. You're probably all pissed off at me. You're never going to watch another one of my videos. Okay, fine. I'll miss you. But if you take this to heart, and you make sure that the book you're submitting fits the guidelines on length from the publisher, It will put you ahead of 20 or 30% of the other people submitting. When we were open for unsolicited submissions, I'd say 25% were too long. It's like, oh, you want a maximum of 120,000 words? Here's 160. You want a maximum of 120,000 words? Here's 250. Those didn't even get read. They got the form rejection, the thank you for submitting to Falstaff Books. We do not have a place for your book at this time. We wish you luck in your future endeavors. That's it. Not even a read. Because we were getting 100 submissions a month. We were taking about one a year. You had a 0.1% chance to get published with us. And we're as small a press as it gets. Just imagine when you're submitting to Bain or Tor or Daw or any of these other bigger presses that have open submissions. Give yourself every advantage that you can by following all the guidelines. It's not rocket science. If you do what people ask, you're legitimately ahead of most of the field. Look, just by finishing a book, you're ahead of 95% of people who say, I want to write a book someday. Congratulations, you've done it. Rock on. Good job. Now, hit all of the boxes, check all the little boxes on this publisher's form, and you're ahead of 90% of the people who have finished a book. Now you just have to be ahead of 95% of the other people, because your book still has to be brilliant. But first, if it fits, it prints. Make it fit. Till next time, y'all, be good to one another, all right?